So I'm Chuck Petrucia, the president of the CAA, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. Good morning, everyone. There we go.
California, here I come, right back where I started from, where bowers of flowers bloom in the sun. Each morning at dawning, birdies sing and everything a sun-kissed miss said, don't be late. That's why I can hardly wait. Open up that golden gate, California, here I come.
California, here I come, right back where I started from, where bowers of flowers bloom in the sun. Each morning at dawning, birdies sing and everything a sun-kissed miss says, don't be late. That's why I can hardly wait. Open up that golden gate, California, here I come.
Candy Hurt, are you here this morning, Candy? Candy's going to sing our national anthem for us this morning. Is Candy in the room? Oh, good morning. Good morning.
Okay, sorry. Where is the flag? Oh, it's right behind me. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the... I knew I was going to do that. I'm so sorry. Through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Candy. Please stay standing. We're going to have a flag salute. This is our 25th anniversary, and some of us, not quite 25 years for me, but have been in the room for 25 years. So I'm going to ask this morning for Joe Kinda of J.C. Gurry to come up. He is one of those folks that have been here for all 25 years. Joe, could you come and lead us in the pledge this morning, please? Good morning.
Would you stand up there?
Yep. get her started.
Get it started? Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Thank you very much, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks for being here. All right, if we could, just instead of going around the room like we've done in the past, introducing ourselves, if you could do it what Jerry called it church style. So if you could stand up like one last time, shake hands with someone you don't know, introduce yourself, and make someone around you feel welcome.
Where's our man in the alley? Mike Madsen.
He's not here.
I guess he doesn't have to report on anything, right?
No.
But that's that is
Where's
funny.
Les? He's down there. Where is he?
Do we have to do anything with Brian, or he officially got
Officially,
brought in? So we don't-
Jerry asked me, I said no.
Not for the general, we already did that in the official.
And I've got a moment where I'll make the announcement as he gives his technology community.
Are you gonna do you mention Madsen in your welcome or anything? No.
Mention that.
No, just mention that he's the wine stock winner. That we're excited to see him tonight because it's gonna be fun if he's not sitting here.
Yeah, I have it, but I probably should. Let's get left to the mic. What a great group. Okay, for our antitrust statement this morning, I call to the stand less gold.
Thank you. Can we have your Can we have your attention, please? As we celebrate the 25th anniversary of the CAA, and our members have always followed the principles of our bylaws, our code of ethics, and we're here to promote the highest standards of performance and professional conduct in the electronic security industry, to foster objectives founded on principles of justice and integrity that are beneficial to all persons involved in the electronic security industry. As we gather here, we have discussions about our industry which would assist the best interest of our members and of our community and of our customers. And we make sure that we don't engage in any activities which would be considered to be anti-competitive. And of late, we also make sure that we don't get involved in any groping or engage in any activities which, for most of us, would be deemed to be inappropriate. Right, Mr. Spiller? And having said that, we'll have our meetings, and we make sure that we don't discuss anything which would be inappropriate. And we also make sure that we do not exclude anyone from membership in our organization to whom it would be important to our business. I thank you and have a great conference.
Thank you, Les. Ron, could I have you ask for a motion for the minutes? You can come to the podium. Thank you.
Good morning, folks. I hope you enjoyed the minutes from the meeting from September, and I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes as submitted. Thank you, Ron. And a second? Thanks, Mark. All approve? Say aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. It is a tireless job, and we thank you for that, Ron. Welcome, everyone, to San Francisco. What a ruckus group this has been. Just incredible, the amount of support that we've gotten for our CAA. We are here to celebrate our 25th anniversary, It's fun for me to meet and shake hands with those people that were here 25 years ago. So there's a number of them in the room. So if you were here 25 years ago as this started, could I get you to please stand up? Woohoo! Thanks to all of you for your insight, your forward thinking, and the protection of our industries in establishing the CAA. We're in a new venue, the Fairmont. How do you guys like it? Is this it? Well, we hope you like it because we're going to be here for the next few years. I know my wife and I have enjoyed it. The rooms are spectacular. I walk into each one of these meeting rooms and taken aghast a lot of times just how beautiful the architecture is, and the service has been outstanding also. I want to say thanks to all our speakers from yesterday. We had a great day yesterday. All the breakout sessions were very well attended. The information was on point. And as I looked around each of the rooms, which I tried to mingle between the rooms, I noticed the conversations that were going on during, before, and afterwards. So from my perspective as an alarm company owner, those are invaluable. And the only place to get those is right here, right in this room, right here at the CAA. So thank you to all the speakers. I want to give them a round of applause. This entire event couldn't take place without our support of our manufacturers, our dealers, and our suppliers, right? And so we really want to thank the sponsors. They've been around, and last night we had a great reception and got to see the wares and the software and the different components of the security world. And so I want to really give another round of applause to our sponsors. Thank you very much. All right, next on our agenda is our treasurer business report, and I'll ask David Michael to the stand. David?
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to keep this very brief. We get into a little bit more detail on the financial report at the board meeting, but I'd like to keep you guys awake and get you out of here. We're going to review the results as of the third quarter of this year. Overall revenue was about $6,800 below budget. Dues were pretty much in line with budget, but we may have a significant impact going forward. We had 3 large national companies that significantly decreased or canceled altogether. ADT and Comcast declared as 6 to 10 employee companies. Seems like they're a little bigger than that. And AT&T decided not to renew, so we may have some dues impact going forward. Overall expenses, however, were just under $20,000 below budget. So we did a good job of controlling costs with some revenue challenges. And bottom line, we show a net profit through the third quarter of $10,000, which is about $13,000 better than budgeted. Any questions about that? Our cash on hand as of September 30th was about $82,000, which includes a lot of prepayments for this event. So cash is a little bit tight, but seems okay at the moment. Any questions about that? Lastly, you have on your table a copy of the proposed budget for 2018. We reviewed it at the board meeting. The board recommended it to the general membership for approval. It's a balanced budget. We show a budgeted profit of about $377. So, Chuck, I believe we need a motion.
All right, are there any questions for Dave on the proposed budget? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to accept this as our 2018 budget. I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Rod, did you have a question? A motion? Thank you very much, Rod. Steve, was a second by you there. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Great. Thank you very much, Dave. I also want to thank Dave and the entire executive committee. That was not an easy task to put together a balanced budget. We had some cash shortfalls this year that we've skated through, and looking at this event as our #1 fundraiser for this year and carrying cash forward into next year, I think we're well on our way. But it was a number of conversations and a lot of work by Dave and Charles's office, our CPA, and so for that I say thanks, guys, and appreciate the hard work.
Collect up my goodies.
Thank you, Dave. Les, could I call you back up for our legal report, please?
Just going over a few of the issues which we've had come to us since our past meeting, and I hope all of you attended the session with Laura Alarcon yesterday, because she was really straightforward and really answered questions that people have asked us during the course of the past year. And just a few of the issues that have come up, if you weren't there, the modifications or the enforcement aspects of the Alarm Company Act, which really have raised issue for a number of companies, has really been for companies outside the state of California who are doing business in the state of California. And people have said to us, well, we've heard that there's a new law. It's not a new law, it's the existing law that they're just enforcing. And effectively, if you're out of state, you have to have a physical presence in the state of California. And the reasoning is, if they want to come in and inspect books or check something out, they want to have a location. BSIS wants a location to go to. So that's the reason for the enforcement. And for those of you who are doing business outside the state, you should make sure that if there's any question, you contact BSIS or whoever is making recommendations to your company, and make sure you comply. One of our members here, Morgan Hertel, Morgan has been very, very involved with the Bureau in this regard and is very well aware of what's going on. Another issue that Laura raised yesterday, of course, was the blank in the contract where it says your salesmen have to put in their number, their registration number, and what if they don't have a number yet? And I think John Sargent pointed out, pending. Under the law, your employee can work for 90 days, and then if they don't have a number, then of course they have to check with the Bureau, and they can get an extension, but the Bureau has to agree to the extension. Another question that comes up, we've had it come up often, is can a qualifier qualify more than one company? The answer is yes, and when the question comes up, how many? It's really subjective. You could probably qualify, a qualifier could probably qualify 4, 5, 6 companies. If it goes beyond that, the Bureau is going to check it out. The issue that comes up is when you have another location, and whoever is running that location has to run that location, so effectively they have to spend 51% of the time in that location. So it's difficult if you have branch offices for the same person to run each of the branches. There might be a possibility that you can do more than one, but you have to get the approval of the Bureau. Another question that came up is, can a qualifier be out of state? And the answer is yes, they can be out of state, but you're going to have to submit information to the Bureau showing exactly what you do and how you do it. Those are the big issues that have come up, at least that we have seen with BSIS. A couple other things, and I'm sure you may hear a little bit more about it from our legislative advocate, but with AB 1616, which is great, the legislature passed a bill which effectively says that municipalities cannot sue alarm companies for false alarms, but we say don't get too carried away, because if you are negligent or there's a problem that you've created, you're still going to be responsible. Another issue has been with background checks that's come up, and we've had many inquiries about that. And the law now is that you cannot ask about criminal history except in certain instances, and I think in that situation alarm companies are protected because we have to get the approval of the FBI before he can employ someone, so that becomes, I think, a fairly moot situation for members of the industry. And last, you cannot ask about prior compensation. If it's volunteered by the employee, that's fine, but you cannot ask the employee what their prior compensation was. You can probably ask what is your expectation if you go to work for us, but you can't ask about the prior. Those are the legal issues that have come up. I thought Laura really handled it very, very well yesterday, and unless anyone has any further questions, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Les. And for our committee report, Tim Westfall.
Good morning, everyone. The CAA Government Committee was busy this year, monitoring, reviewing, and acting on several bills that came before the Senate and the Assembly. The committee consists of Ron Landers, Shane Clary, Brian Boglin, Matt Westfall, and myself, and we work very closely with Trent Smith and his firm in Sacramento. And I'll call on Trent to give the CAA report. Thanks, Trent. We're extremely fortunate to have this firm working for us, and this year, as I said, was very busy. And if we didn't have Trent working for us, some things probably would not have gone our way. So thanks, Trent.
Thanks, Tim. It's a pleasure to be here. It was a busy year. As Les has already mentioned, I want to thank our friends at ADT. They sponsored legislation this year, AB 1616, to clarify that the municipalities can only impose false alarm penalties on the permittees, the homeowners or the business owners, unless the alarm company is negligent or didn't install the equipment correctly or the equipment malfunctions. But otherwise, that was a very good development. That'll be in effect January 1 of 18. In addition, Les mentioned the bill about asking criminal history. Originally, the way the bill was drafted, it wasn't clear if you were in an industry that required a criminal background check as a condition of licensure, whether you could ask that question. We did work with the author's office and sponsors to clarify it, and we actually had to clarify the language 2 or 3 times to get it to the point where it was satisfactory so that it wouldn't impact the alarm industry. There was another bill that we worked with the Bureau on. They were having some issues with some out-of-state companies who were selling systems door to door, installing the systems, but the systems they were not monitored. And so the current definition of an alarm system describes the system and then says that the law enforcement shall respond. And the companies were arguing that since the systems were not monitored, there was no expectation for law enforcement to show up, and therefore they were not installing an alarm under the definition in statute. So we worked with them and made a big change, and we changed shall to may. So it says now that the law enforcement may respond, and with that gives the Bureau a little bit of ability to push back on some of these companies and require that they do in fact get a license. And that's important if they are coming into someone's house or going door to door. We want to make sure they have the criminal background checks, etc. So probably the biggest issue though this year, and I don't know if anything got passed out, there was supposed to be some charts that kind of look like this. If you don't have them, I have a couple. I think there's an article in the Mirror. Is it on the tables? Okay, good. So about this time last year, the Bureau asked for a meeting with representatives of the alarm industry. Many of Tim and Brian, many of your board members and Ledge Committee members met with Laura and her staff. And what she wanted to do was give us a little warning that the Department of Finance had looked at their operations and concluded that their revenue was not going to meet their expenditures in a matter of a year or two. And they were going to undergo an external audit of their operation. but they wanted to give us a warning that the likely outcome was going to be a proposed increase for alarm fees, for license fees. And what they had shared with us that the current alarm fees had not been increased in over 20 years. The alarm industry was paying licensing fees way below what the other regulated industries that they oversee, so your security guards, private investigators, repossessors, etc. The fees did not cover the cost of the work that was being done. The alarm industry does not do a very good job of using the automated Breeze system for filing your licenses, and that is significant because the paper applications take more time, more staff time, and they're among the industries that they regulate. The alarm industry has the second highest number of consumer complaints. Now, most of those they admitted were with regards to automatic renewals of contracts, and those usually can be cleared up pretty quickly and probably will get better with legislation last year that went into effect to require more consumer disclosure. But the point being is that there was a lot of burden on the Bureau to regulate the alarm industry, and the alarm industry really wasn't covering its costs. So when they did the audit came out, and you'll see in this chart what the current fee is. And then if you look just to the right, the audit came back with some really astronomical increases. And so to the credit of the Bureau, they met with us again. They said, look, we understand that this would be unsustainable to have an increase. For instance, your employee registration going from $17 to $208. So we pushed back. We met with them several times. We asked them a lot of questions. We went back and asked them for some different changes. I will say that the Bureau was pretty well prepared in all of our meetings and had a very good response to everything we brought up. So ultimately, you'll see SB 547 new fee, and it's the third one over there, and that's what ended up going into a bill late in the session. You'll see to the right of it is the ceiling, and what we discussed with them is we said, look, if we agree to these fee increases, where does it stop? And so what we negotiated was a ceiling. So the bill goes into effect with a $55 employee registration fee, and it's capped in the future at $60. So the Bureau can come back in a few years, go through a rulemaking process that wouldn't have to go to the legislature to pass a new bill, but it would take about a year to have a public hearing process where they would go out to the industry and ask for further increases. But so that's ultimately what happened is, so you'll see that these are the proposed fees, or the new fees. They will be effective July 1, 2018. So that was another thing. They wanted to give the industry a little bit of time to prepare and budget for any increases. On the alarm company operator license fee, just want to point out it's $970, and if you see current is $280. That $280 doesn't include an application fee of, I think, $370. So that makes that jump look even worse. But what we negotiated with them is that that's a fee that the company pays once every 2 years, and where the employee fee, you're getting new employees all the time. And so we negotiated a lower employee fee, because that could, depending on the number of employees and how often you have turnover, that could get a little bit more expensive. So we asked for a lower employer fee, but in exchange, we agreed to a little bit higher of a fee for the companies. So anyway, that was kind of the conclusion of it. It wasn't a fun process, and we certainly understand nobody enjoys paying more fees. But in this particular case, we thought it was justified. We want to have a well-regulated industry, and so if there's any questions, or if there's not, or I'm happy to answer them afterwards too, but that concludes my report.
Again, a huge thanks to Trent and his firm. They really help our industry out a ton, and we rely on them greatly. So thank you, Trent. Shane, did you have anything to add, or did we cover it? Okay. One other thing, on February 27th of 2018, we're going to have a day at the Capitol. We're going to work with Trent to get that organized, but it's a really good opportunity for those of you that live in California and represent the industry in California to tour the Capitol, have some meetings with our legislators, and talk about the successes we've had in the industry and any issues that we may be working on. And we have cheat sheets and speaking points to help you guys have those meetings. It's a really great day and a great opportunity to shake hands with the people that write these bills, so that when something does come up and it is time to act, we've got those relationships and they remember that we put the time in to make those relationships. So we'll be sending out more information about that, but please, on February 27th, it'd be great to have a good showing for our Capitol Day tour. That's it for the Ledge Report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trent. Excuse me. From my perspective, it is some of the most important work as an association we can do for the livelihood of our industry. And in the beginning of the year, when our California legislation was in session, it was all I could do to keep up with the emails that were being sent to me, much less understand the bills and who's drafting in them and for what. And so Tim and the whole committee, thank you very much. The other part of that is, Laura, or Chief Alarcorn, called us before and invited us to talk to her, sit down across the table before she implemented these fee increases. So in that, I want to say your PAC fund is working well. We had a seat at the table rather than just being handed these fees from the auditor. You can see the difference that it made. So your PAC fund is much appreciated. Tim, that Ledge Committee does some great work. Thank you for all the committee members. And Trent, thank you and your staff for supporting us in that endeavor. Okay, next, pardon me. Mark, would you like to come up? Our Public Safety Liaison Chair. Morning, Mark.
Good morning, everyone. As far as any new alarm ordinances or issues, it's been kind of a quiet past few months, which is good. I think the city of Lodi was the last agency that had an alarm ordinance passed, and with the help of CAA and the industry, we were able to negotiate. I believe they did follow the model ordinance and prevented any onerous type of items to get into that policy. So that being said, the AB 1616, which prevents police departments from fining alarm companies, is great for our industry, but we still are dealing with local law enforcement agencies that can still pass ordinances that will fine customers or go to non-response or verified response. So it's still very important for us to maintain our relationships with law enforcement, and with the help of CAA, being able to be aware of the things that are coming around the pike. That being said, City of Antioch is looking to revise their ordinance. Sacramento County is looking at a revision to their ordinance. Desert Hot Springs is interested in implementing an ordinance, and Contra Costa is also interested. So none of these are at the level where we need to take any action, and when it gets to that point, CAC will involve the local members in the community or with the association, and we'll be able to get a seat at the table. So that being said, I'd like to bring up Steve Kiefer from CAC. These are our eyes and ears, the boots on the ground that help us maintain our relationships. So, Steve.
Well, thank you, Mark, and thank you, Chuck, and the board for allowing SEAC to update you on recent activity. I'm a law enforcement liaison with SEAC. Prior to that, I was a former police chief for the city of Sparks. And it's been a pleasure to see the other side of the alarm industry other than from a law enforcement perspective. Happy to report, as Mark said, there's nothing contentious in your state, knock on wood, and AB 1616 definitely helps. For those of you that don't know, CX working with national companies and local companies in the state of Georgia, where Sandy Springs is doing exactly that, trying to find the industry in lieu of the customer. And just this morning, Stan made me aware that there's a few other agencies that have fallen suit to also litigate perhaps against the industry. So that one could set a bad precedence. There's many cities in that state, and Sandy Springs is doing a fairly good job of letting other cities know what they're doing, and they're getting some attention. So, however, back to your state, I continue efforts with outreach. As Mark said, we have a handful of agencies that are looking at ordinances in one form or another, and I've made a few appearances at some of your local chapters. I'll continue those efforts. I have to say my first one was a little memorable as I went to Richmond and became a statistic. I had my truck broken into during lunch, and a fine citizen of Richmond has my suitcase and backpack and work computer, but not my golf clubs. So I limped home with one window missing and one about to break, and got home back to Reno. A few weeks later, went to Silicon Valley for their chapter meeting, and then a few weeks ago went back to East Bay and presented again. And yes, duly noted, with a much better location. Thank you very much. Probably the most important thing to report would be our advancements with California Chiefs Association. That is really the group we target throughout the country, are police chiefs, and we participate in conferences and sponsorships at national levels, but where we get a lot of work done is with the local state association. And Cal Chiefs, the history of California Chiefs of Police was contentious, to say the least. The executive director is very influential with incoming police chiefs, and we weren't looked in a positive eye as an industry from her viewpoint. It had to deal a lot with former police chief Steckler from Fremont, who advocated verified response, and we made it through those times, but we really couldn't penetrate a cohesive partnership with that executive director. And again, it's a very powerful position that can put a wall up trying to build partnerships with SEAC. However, thanks to the help of Chuck Brobeck, a retired police chief that is on staff with SEAC, he was able to allow us to sponsor this year at International Association of Chiefs of Police in Philadelphia for California chiefs at their host hotel. And I would estimate that we had at least 100, if not 200 different agencies come through that door during 4 nights of a reception that SEAC was able to host, along with 3 other vendors. And not only was it positive in those interactions with those police chiefs, obviously sending our message of what we do, but the executive director, you could see, took an entirely different position. So the future looks promising. It looks like we will be there again next year, and it's something in the over 4 years I've been with SEAC that I haven't seen such a positive change with your state, with police chiefs, as with this move with California chiefs. So. Even though Chuck Brobeck isn't here, he really pulled one off for us, and we are thankful. But that is all I have to report. CX very thankful for the donations from companies that are in this room and from the support of CAA and the board, and I thank you.
Thank you, Steve. There are a couple other folks here from the SEAC team. I'd like to have Stan Martin and Ron Walters also stand up for an acknowledgement round. SEAC has been a vital partner of the CAA for a long time, and if you ever witness their putting on their capes and their shield and flying into your town to help steer off a rogue ordinance, you'll know what I'm talking about. In Eureka, a year and a half ago, before John retired, we had a alarm ordinance that we were facing where they were going to charge the false alarm to the alarm company. John brought in the model ordinance. We met with the police chief and the city attorney and the city council, and there they were for us, SEAC, and now Eureka has a model ordinance in effect there. So the work they do is sometimes not seen every day, but boy, when you need them, they're sure there. At the registration desk, we have I think there's about 30 or 40 SEAC pins that are left. And so $20 will get you a lapel pin for SEAC. 100% of those proceeds go to SEAC to support their endeavors. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for making the trip out here. Steve, for your report, and thank you very much, Mark. Okay, next on our agenda, I'll ask up Larry St. John for a membership committee report. Morning, Larry.
Good morning, everyone. I'll keep our report brief. Membership Committee reports a current roster for regular members at 172. This represents a decrease of 6 over the past 12 months. Associate members, we are at 65, when that represents a decrease of 3. So that's our current roster for paid and enforced members. We know there's been some house cleaning, so we can expect those numbers to change in the next 12 months, but that's not due to any attrition issues. That's just some house cleaning and the headquarters catching up. So that's our count. Membership Committee's got a number of initiatives it's involved in right now, and one that we wanted to focus on just very briefly is, as we're up here listening to all the accomplishments that our organization is getting done for us in the interest of the industry, a lot of anecdotes, a lot of stories, a lot of stories from the trenches, and we've been trying to capture those and make those issues something that we can pass on easily, because this is the reason that we sacrifice our time to come here, that we pay good money to be a participant in supporting or investing in our industry. And it's wonderful to have individuals that can tell those success stories and how the fight was fought and won. But we also are trying to make these things readily available, elevator pitch as it is, because we want to be able to relay that value to potential members as our local chapters, our regional leaders are engaged in membership efforts to try to bring the word of what we're accomplishing to those that haven't had an opportunity to participate. And so just in short, we have put together different membership benefit marketing pieces to make those success stories readily available and easily communicated to those that haven't heard all that's being done for them, for their industry, on their behalf, and maybe yet without their assistance, without their help yet. So we want to bring them involved, and this is just another set of tools that'll help that recruiting process proceed more smoothly. So we've got a roster of pieces that are available and being distributed to chapter leaders. So you can, if you have any need for those, reach out to me directly or see your local chapter president, because they are now armed with that assistance. So that is our report in short, and we'll return the attention back to our president.
Thank you, Larry. And thank your committee, too. Those are some powerful new slicks that he's put out, and so if you haven't seen them, check in with your regional presidents, because they were distributed yesterday, and we do have electronic copies of them also. And so look for those. They're great work. Thanks for that report, Larry. I think everyone in the room, or most in the room, know Dave Hood. Dave was the Sergeant of Arms of our CAA, and he was the Technology and Industry Trends Committee Chair, and he was the president of the Golden Gate, and pretty much all around good guy. I mean, how could you be around Dave Hood and not have a fun time and enjoy his humor? He has resigned and taken a different direction in his career. He's working for a software company. And what that meant for me as your president is I had some holes to fill. And the first call that I made was to Brian Boglin, and all I got was, okay, yes, 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 okay. So I'm going to ask Brian to come up and give the Technology Industry Trends Committee report, but I also want to welcome him to the table as your new Sergeant of Arms.
My voice is pretty loud as is, so I'll try not to be overbearing. What Chuck didn't convey was that Dave just stepped out about 3 weeks ago, so I'm going to see if I can give a report that doesn't look like I just threw it together. So, as far as technology trends, this is something that's near and dear to my heart from my company. I want to make whatever we present at this event and also at Palm Springs relevant to you guys as our members. I want to bring value. I think that's the biggest thing that all of us are tasked with. And I think that's what you look to when you come to these events. So just going forward more than where we've been, I think ISC and ESX is amazing. It's great for this industry. I'm going to try to focus outside of those groups into like the CEDIAs and the parallel industries that are having a little bit of a crossover. As we all know, technologies right now are starting to have this merge, between sectors where none of us are really used to that. Anybody that's been in the industry more than 10 years, this is all new, where we have outside influences that aren't even trying to come into the security space, are poking their head in, and they don't even realize it. So what the technology committee is going to try to do 2018 is basically go out, look who the disruptors are in the industry, create content and reports, bring that back to you. Obviously, IoT has been the big buzzword. Obviously that's still going to be a focus of the committee, but I'm going to not try to be hyper focused on that. I know that some people are maybe sick of that acronym already, but it's the reality of the space that we're all in right now. Like I said, going forward, I'm going to try to put together some content for the future events for CAA that are focused around those type of things that you may not even be aware of, but that may be coming into our industry and a very relevant topic going forward. So that's really all my report is right now. Like I said, I apologize, but I only had a few weeks, so.
Hey, no apology necessary. You're stepping up to the plate. We really appreciate you doing that, Brian. I'd like to invite to the podium Angela White, our president of ESA. Angela has taken a trek across the country to get here again. So, Angela, thank you for supporting the CAA and presenting the report on ESA this morning. Welcome.
Good morning. It is a pleasure to be back here, and congratulations on your 25th anniversary. Quite an accomplishment. What I would like to do is piggyback, especially on the membership report. ESA has spent a lot of time this year in understanding that we are approaching our 70th anniversary in February, so quite a milestone for us. And when we looked at the association, what we needed to figure out is what do we do best and what do we need to do to better our organization and our association for our membership. So we actually went through, hopefully I can work this thing, and I'll make it very brief. We took 3 days of our senior leadership and some volunteers are inside, and we went through and we did what we called the Cascade Initiative. And what we were trying to accomplish with this is what are our core competencies, what are our core values, and really what do our members want and need from us. When you talk about attrition and you talk about our current members, if I can say to any one of you, why do you belong, and you have a passion and you're telling me that our deliverables are valuable, those are things that we need to continue to focus on. But in a 70-year organization and association, I think we can all agree that what was important and what was relevant 10 years ago, 5 years ago, is no longer as much a value as it should be. So as we went through the initiative, and I'll make this brief, we went through our core values, and try to decide what we do best, and what we can deliver best to our membership. Nice setting, huh? This is probably my biggest passion. We have developed a mentor-mentee program. We believe that with the aging out of most of us, statistically, 10,000 baby boomers will turn 65 today and for the next 19 years. So we all face the crunch of trying to get entrance into this space. And we realize that the young security professionals that we currently have in our space need to be mentored, and we need to nurture the relationships and increase their participation so that we don't become extinct. Ralph Sevenar's here. Ralph has been a huge proponent of this initiative. Deanne Harn has been a mentor. She has given us mentees. I also have been a mentor. George, Kathy, we have a lot of participants. I would encourage you that if you have a rising leader in your organization, to lend them to this program. It is a structured program. It is 12 months long. They are paired with a mentor who will give them some different direction, different insight, things that will come back to your own company as a benefit. Additionally, if you have the time, the energy, or a senior leader that you can lend to this program as a mentor, I would encourage that as well. I can tell you that I learned as much from my mentee, I'm sure, as I taught him. It's a valuable program. It's a huge initiative and a lot of energy and resources that ESA is putting into it. There's Kathy. ESA has secured a public relations firm. On the same note, we understand that while we nurture our young security professionals, we also need to raise awareness in getting people interested in our profession. We are no longer the rider underneath the electricians. We need to stand on our own, raise the bar, and by having hired a public relations firm, we are getting awareness out there so that we can hopefully garner additional entrants into the field. Part of that initiative also includes the ESA Dealer Toolkit. For all of the chapter leaders, the regional leaders, if you are not familiar with this, if you call our membership department, they will walk you through it. I strongly suggest that you bring it up at your meetings. This is an invaluable resource. There are job descriptions that you can use. There are pay scales on here. There are also links to actually publish ads for workforce. I've used this several times. I've changed a little bit of, done some tweaking on the job descriptions, and I can tell you that I've received better and more qualified applicants just by trying a different approach. If you hit this video, please. This is not the right one. I think
students in hundreds of schools. The estimated cost of recovery will
is a
reach
Mission
almost
500
$200
video.
billion and over 10 years to complete. Tragically, families who were struggling before the hurricane have been the most severely affected now. Mission 500 is a nonprofit 501c3 organization that works.
Here we go.
You hear it in the news every day. Crime in our communities. Now you can do something about it. Security industry jobs offer cutting-edge technology, life-changing purpose, job security, growth potential, flexibility and independence, highly valued skills, an entrepreneurial environment, and a new mission for military veterans. No matter who you are, student, career changer, military veteran, or retiree, no matter what your interests, sales and marketing, account management, customer relations, technology, or service, in an industry that changes lives. Don't just talk about it, do something about it. Join more than 500,000 residential and commercial security industry professionals, making a difference in the lives of millions while reaching your own personal goals. For more information on where to start,
How many of you have this on your own websites? Anybody? Deanne, do you have it? Anybody else? One. This is a video. Anybody else? No? This is a video that ESA produced. That happens to be my company logo. It's on my website. It's on my social media pages. We will brand this for you at no cost. So if you want to give me your business cards, it's a super cool video, but what I also found is that when I was interviewing new technology candidates, they go to your websites. They want to see if you are sexy or cool or you have something appealing. This video I interviewed 30 candidates, and I think 18 of them talked about having seen this video and how impactful it was. So we will co-brand it for you. We will put all of your information on it. Bring me your business cards and I will get them back to the office. This is a great resource for you, and I would suggest that you actually utilize it. Even when you're doing advertising for candidates, there are some, I think Indeed will let you put links on there. So come see me, bring me your business card. I'll be glad to take care of it for you. NTS, ESA continues to do very well with our education. We are constantly updating our courses, adding to our CEU bundles, and we continue to train a multitude of students. There we go. We do now offer level 1 is offered in Spanish. I would imagine that in places in California that would actually play incredibly well. So if you have a need for level 1 in Spanish, we provide that as well. Security America has updated our website. This is one of the landing pages. You can go, you can actually apply for a quote online. If you haven't done so, I would suggest you do it. Additionally, you can print your certificates of insurance. So for those of you who are quoting jobs and need them immediately without any altercations to that certificate, you have direct access to be able to take care of it. Crystal Jacobs is in the room or was in the room. I don't see her, but we have our Security America booth out back. My suggestion is that you stop, at least get a quote. I learned very quickly, once I sat on the Security America board, that it was very different when a policyholder came to us with a claim. We had almost 300 years of industry experience sitting around that table. So getting defense and getting recommendations from a group of true security professionals is much different than somebody who's actually looking at one of your claims who has no idea what a resistor is or a supervisory circuit. So aside from the fact that Sarge typically saves you significant amount of premium dollar, we also come with a tremendous amount of experience. Stay tuned. We're actually looking into workman's compensation. My deck page was already submitted, and I know that I would have somewhere around a 22% savings. There we go. If you have your phones, I would suggest you pull them up, take a picture of the slide. Here's where you can get directly to Security America to get some of that insurance taken care of. I see somebody with their phone. Thank you. I'm sure you're all aware that we've done some changes with our government relations. I think some of you actually experienced firsthand yesterday with a reach out for an initiative. We are going to continue to move in this direction, and we're also going to support, and I believe you do it in California, a day on Capitol Hill within your own state. Yes. We are finding that going to Washington, D.C. was not our best initiative, so we are going to attempt to make Day on Capitol Hills actually during Senate breaks within the states, and we'll do some coordinating, and stay tuned for that. This thing is starting to irritate me. This way, this way. Okay, we'll skip it. We're not working. Lastly, I'd like to briefly cover our member savings program as a benefit to actually attract new members. What I have found, and I've done studies within my own company, that by participating in any one of the member savings programs, you actually have the ability to save. I save in my own company enough money to actually pay my dues for both national and Wisconsin. I've also incentivized my employees so that if they find a program and they're out there saving the company money, we share in that cost savings. There we go. Again, if you have your phones, that's the link. If you want to take that out, take it back to your office, share it with your staff. You'd be surprised just in credit card processing the amount of money that you would save. Our upcoming events, here you go. Take your phones out yet again. Today is the deadline for early bird registration for Leadership Summit. It is $2.99. If you are interested in going, please come see me if you can't make the deadline. Additionally, we are offering a $199 registration fee if you are bringing a rising leader. This event, I have to say, if any of you actually know my history, I owned a company in Vermont, sold it. I now own a company in Wisconsin. If it were not for ESA, if it were not for these events, the ability to network, once I sold my initial company, I'm not sure what I'd be doing. I met my current business partner through ESA, and the friends and the relationships that I have made networking have more than covered my dues. I find incredible value in traveling to ESA events, not only as a president, but throughout the year, going to leadership, and I can sit down with anybody in this room, anybody in ESA, in the association. I can ask them any question, and I've never been turned down for information. I have never had to go back and reinvent a wheel when I could go to anybody at a meeting and say, "Hi, how do you do this?" Everybody's willing to share, and the amount of money that I've saved in reinventing and redeveloping a process has been incredible. Not to mention, I've developed a lifetime of friendships and people that I really value, people who actually donate time to this industry and give back. So again, the deadline today for leadership, $299 and $199 for a rising leader. Our 15th annual golf tournament will be on Tuesday, April 10th in Las Vegas. This is the only fundraiser that ARIF does. I would encourage you to come and play. It's usually a phenomenal event. Last year we had beautiful weather. I don't golf, but for those of you who do, I understand that the course is impeccable. Take out your phone one more time. This is ESX. I believe that this is a premier industry event. It is in Nashville again this year, and I would have to say that we provide some of the best educational tracks in the industry. There is nowhere that you can go for a week, do some networking, see some products, but the educational tracks and the speakers that are there this is the best event in the industry in my mind. I may be a little biased, but I would definitely invest time and energy to come here as well and meet up with your peer groups, not to mention Nashville's a great town to spend a few days in. This is our Member Services Center. By all means, please give us a call. We are more than willing to help you. It's important to us as an association to help you maintain and grow your association and to provide benefits to your members and to deliver value. Lastly, I would like to thank all of the volunteers in this room. I believe in the volunteers, I believe that volunteering isn't really an option. I think we can all agree that this industry has given us a pretty good life, and volunteering really is a responsibility. So I thank you, all of you, who volunteer your time and energy to this association. And thank the people at home who allow you the time and the latitude to spend away from your own businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. And I'd like to also acknowledge the rest of the ESA team. We have ESA Executive Director Merlin Gilbreau here, and we have ESX Chairman George DeMarco here. If you guys could stand up and get a round of applause too. One other benefit that the California Alarm Association participants can rely on now is the National Training School. The NTS Level 1 program has a link on the California Alarm Association website. So if you go there to sign up your Level 1 technician, we will get a kickback from the NTS, and we're already seeing checks come in. The link, though, is on our website. If you sign up for it any other way, California does not get the credit. So I urge you to check that out. Rick, how many guys have we sent through it this year? Probably half a dozen people, and very satisfied with that NTS program. Now that you can click that link on our CAA website, put money back into our coffers. Thanks again, Angela, for a great report. Ron Lander, if I could have you to the podium for the WBFAA report, please. Morning, Ron.
Morning, Chuck. Morning, everybody. Speaking of the training, we're real proud of the WBFAA. We're in about our 16th year of productivity. Of the 3,000 certifications the state has issued, 1,000, 1/3 of them came from the WBFAA, something really for us to be proud of, especially the volunteers of our group, which are right now Richard Jimenez, who's, I don't know if he's here, but he's one of the new board members. Tom Rankin, I saw him here, he's a new board member. We have George Gunning, he's a charter member like myself, and Shane Clary. I see Matt Westfall and Doug Shackley and Bev Kramer, who's in Florida right now. She's our chief trainer and a great resource for the group. Right now we have 165 active apprentices in 6 different semesters throughout the state, and about 600 journeymen that get their recertification for training credits. And the only thing I have to say on the negative side is we depend on OJT reports from your member companies. A lot of you are here now to pass a student from one semester to another. If they don't get a signed OJT report from a supervisor, they sit in their old semester or lose time. So please, when you get those OJT reports, your middle managers, please make sure you push them up and get them out to us, because our 1-page late reports turn into a 2-page late report. So thank you, and thanks again for the support of the CAA and ESA in that. Thank you, Chuck. Sure can. Do you have it? No, I don't. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ron. We do have a
amendment.
Yeah, we do have a presentation to make. John Sargent, could you come to the stage for us, please? He's going, what, huh? Yesterday in my board meeting, or our board meeting, I started the meeting, and I think that's the first time in the 10 years that I was in that room, we didn't have John to start the meeting. But lo and behold, he showed up there halfway through with a great report. Come on up, John. So John, in appreciation for your lifetime achievement and dedication to the California Alarm Association, we are offering you a lifetime membership. Congratulations, John.
With that lifetime membership, we now have the right to have his cell phone number and his personal email address, or 24 hours a day. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks again, Ron. I was looking at your notes for the agenda. I was going to get in trouble there. I was going to say, wait a second, I'm lost. If we could have Mary Beth, no stranger to this stage, Mary Beth Shaughnessy from the ISC, and Rand Price also from SIA. Good morning, Mary Beth.
Thank you so much. Oh, yes, of course. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you all, and congratulations on your 25th anniversary. So happy to be here where I can chat with you all out of the crazy chaos of ISC. So it's nice to see some familiar faces. I do want to just give you a quick little brief overview of ISC East, which we just finished 2 weeks ago. It was a great show. Our show floor grew 14%. We had increased attendance, and the show is really back to stay. We struggled for a few years, so I want to thank all of the manufacturers in the audience that have stuck with us, continued to exhibit, and to the attendees, we really appreciate the support. Now on to ISC West, which I know we strongly participate in. I think most of you were there this year, so you know that it was a killer show, packed with attendees. And we had over 1,000 exhibitors. We reached our 30,000 mark of total industry professionals. Woohoo, we were psyched about that. And we got really rave reviews about the show. So, as you know, we've been partners for for 19 years, and as your membership continues to grow and expand, we're constantly looking for new ways to grow and expand ISC West as well. So we really enjoy working with you and brainstorming to come up with ways to better serve the industry. Some of the ways that we do work together is, we do our kickoff ISC SIA Loves Security party on Tuesday, which will be April 10th this year. We participate in the CAA opening breakfast that I know many of you attend. We host the Nevada Security Association Public Safety Lunch. And of course, you've got your member booth, your association booth, which, as we've enjoyed this new venue this year at the Fairmont, we hope that you all enjoyed your new booth spot last year in the lobby. We did hear some rave reviews, so hopefully you guys are going to be happy remaining there this year. New for 2018, a few initiatives that we're expanding on. We're going to be expanding on our Unmanned Security Pavilion. We're going to be expanding on our Connected Security Expo, which is the IT/physical security and the convergence of IoT. So I know that's a big speaking point, a big initiative of many of yours. We'll have SIA education tracks revolving around that, as well as quite a few vendors right on the show floor that should be able to assist in some of your questions and your needs. We will also be expanding our Connected Home security pavilion, which I know is also of quite a bit of interest. And new this year, we'll be doing a startup spotlight area. So it will be downstairs, and it'll include many new vendors that are new to the industry, who have been in the industry for probably 4 years or less, and have new technologies. So that'll be a whole new initiative. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I just want to say thank you for all your support. We really couldn't run our ISC events without you. You are our largest supporting dealer association. So active, so vital to the industry, and we really look forward to many continued years of working with you. So thank you so much for your support. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rand Price from CAA, who will give you some information. Thank you.
Good morning. Greetings from Security Industry Association. My name is Rand Price, and I'm privileged to be here today and want to concur with Mary Beth. Congratulations on your very impressive 25-year milestone. SIA and CAA have gone back many, many years, and we've been a long supporter of you guys, and we appreciate the opportunity to be a sponsor here today. SIA also has the unique position of being the sole sponsoring organization of the ISC West and East trade shows, along with our trade show partner, ISC, and Mary Beth and her team. Quickly, I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. SIA had an incredible milestone this year. We have reached 800 members, which is the first time in the history of the organization that we've had that high of a membership, which is huge for us. So, and secondly, we, as well as along with ESA, we have completely revamped our website, and it just got up yesterday. And it wasn't with a lot of headaches and lost sleep, but I strongly encourage you to check out our new website, much more member-focused and much more member interface-friendly. We, as well as ESA, have a program called RISE, which is an effort to get more younger people into the security sphere, because we are all aging. So, and years ago, we used to support your apprentice program here, and we'd like to, reinstitute that with you guys, because it dovetails very nicely with what we're trying to do with RISE. So, again, thank you for allowing me to be here today, and I want to turn it back over to Mary Beth. She's going to talk to you a little bit about Mission 500.
Okay, lastly, Mission 500, which is an organization that is very dear to our heart. ISC, CAA, and CAA have partnered with Mission 500 for over 10 years, and it's an organization that really steps up and helps children and families in need. We are going to show you a short video on it. It'll explain some of the initiatives they have going on today, but they're working with families from Houston, from Puerto Rico, and really assisting in helping them get back on their feet after tragedy. There are some cards in the middle of your table, and there is a box for you to donate as an organization or a company if you can. Any support that you can give would be appreciated by them. And again, it is an organization that's quite dear to our heart. You've probably also noticed that in the back room, there's a table of school supplies and backpacks. If you can take a minute and just fill 1 or 2 backpacks, there's no charge to do it, but they will be delivering all of these school supplies to families in Houston over the next few weeks. And, we've done it at our offices in Connecticut. We've done it at some of our shows. And I think after you watch the video, you'll understand what a great organization it is. So thank you in advance for that. Thank you.
On August 25th, Hurricane Harvey hit Houston, Texas, causing the largest flooding event in U.S. history. Over 200,000 homes were damaged, with tens of thousands of families living in temporary housing. The storm has impacted over 1 million students in hundreds of schools. The estimated cost of recovery will reach almost $200 billion and over 10 years to complete. Tragically, families who were struggling before the hurricane have been the most severely affected now. Mission 500 is a nonprofit 501c3 organization that works closely in the security industry to advocate and serve the needs of children and families living in poverty in the U.S.
I met the Mission 500 people and quickly learned about their organization, which is really focused on helping underprivileged children. We wanted to give back as well, so we got focused on that and worked together. First on our first Monty 5K last year, and then in 2017 we did our second event where we raised money for underprivileged kids. And so with that, hurricane occurred and caused all that damage. It felt like the right thing to do. Our Monty 5K was coming up, and we found a way to direct some of our proceeds from Mission 500 to the children who were affected by the Hurricane Harvey incident.
Mission 500 inspires and acts as a catalyst for companies and individuals promoting excellence in corporate citizenship and mobilizes valuable resources to help children and families across the United States and provide meaningful volunteer activities for our corporate partners.
I must say they myself and Axis Communication are very proud to be very engaged in the Mission 500 and their mission to help out underprivileged families and children in the US and globally. And in the aftermath of the Hurricane Harvey in Houston, we had people close to our team, and we saw many other families and children being challenged by this horrible event, and we felt an urge to reach out, and we've committed to do so now and in 2018.
Over the last few years, our volunteer-driven initiatives have distributed more than 13,000 book bags filled with school supplies to students attending Title I schools, provided almost 50,000 weekend meals to hungry children, and donated 300 Hope Packs filled with school supplies and essential hygiene items for children misplaced by Hurricane Harvey. In 2016 alone, we generated over 8 million media impressions while advocating for families in need and mobilizing the industry to action.
Listen, when a natural disaster like Hurricane Harvey occurs, it's a perfect opportunity for us to get involved. Our industry has always rallied when things like this happen, so there's no better investment for your charity dollars than helping young kids and helping them grow into really productive, happy people.
Right now, Mission 500 is responding to the needs of children and families left in the devastating aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. Please consider joining this unified effort of the security industry and our corporate partners as we stand together to bring desperately needed help to the thousands of children and families in Houston as they begin to recover and rebuild.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you, Rand. We truly appreciate the relationship that we have with ISE and CIA, and it's one of the, I sound like a broken record, but it's an invaluable partnership that we have, and we truly appreciated your support and look for many more years of that to come. Tim Tracy, could you make your way to the podium, please, for our Associate Director report. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mr. President and the board. Boy, you get a room full of all the people you consider friends and family and stand up here and it gets a little nerve-wracking. So I apologize if I stammer a little bit. Morning, Mike. I'm honored to be here today representing the associates of the California Alarm Association, of course, as well as the 25th anniversary and celebration of Mike Mattson. I'm honored to also thank the associates this year. In Palm Springs, I asked for your help to continue to drive more content, and many of you stepped up in great ways. I really appreciate you. We had 13 breakout classes yesterday, classes and forums, and some great content. I'm not sure how many of you had an opportunity to attend, but I thank you for attending, as well as I thank the folks that took the time to prepare and present yesterday. So my heartfelt appreciation. Also, I'd like to thank Jerry Lenander and CINCOM. They've been a great help with my taking on the role of Associate Director and getting these things organized. There's a lot that goes on in the background to make these things happen. So again, thanks to them as well. But with no further ado, we'll begin to present the awards for our of appreciation for our associates sponsors. In no particular order, but I'd like to begin with, of course, USA Alarm Systems, Bart, didn't that's you? Oh, wrong USA alarm. Never mind. Mitch Reitman from the Reitman Consulting Group, please. FLIR, Security America, SIA, IP Datatel, Resolution Products, OpenEye, MS&K, Bosch, NAPCO, Qualsys, UCC Exceptional, DMP and Valley Alarm. All right. GMS, WBFAA, Rapid Response, Johnson Controls, All American Monitoring, Nortec, ADI, Triad, Annixter, and NMC. Please make your way up. Next year, we're thinking about using a t-shirt cannon for this. I don't know what you guys think about that. Okay, Interlogics, Alarm.com, ISC, Digital Watchdog, and Altronics. Please make your way up. Mid-Cal Alarm Association and Bay Alarm, please come on up. And Honeywell, Matt Kruger, please. Heartfelt thank you again for our sponsors. Thank you.
I have to do without my glasses. Mark Schubert Award. Associate members are vital to the success of the CAA. CAA Mark Schubert Memorial Award recognizes your contribution. Mark was a strong associate advocate and whose family owned NACC, now NMC. please take the time. We will be awarding the Mark Schubert Award in Palm Springs this year, as always. But locals, please take the time to think it over and pick an associate and get that in as in the next month or so. So thank you very much again for all our associate members. Lillian, are you still as excited as you was yesterday? Yes. Well, come on up. It's my pleasure to bring to the stage Lillian Chamont to talk about our scholarship program. Thank you this morning, Lillian.
Good morning, everyone. Last but not least, coming into my 4th year as the scholarship chair, it's an honor and a privilege, but also the board knows that I get choked up every time I talk about the scholarship program, and it's going to be even worse today. So I'm already choked up, so sorry, but that goes along with it. Well, we are extremely proud to have our 25th anniversary this year. But there is another really critical anniversary and a huge anniversary that you might not know about. And that is, in 2018, we will have 20 years putting out the scholarship program. And during those 20 years, California alone has given out almost $300,000 because of everyone in this room. So from the bottom of my heart, I thank all of you for your continued support. So please come to Palm Springs. That will be where we award our 20th scholarship, state scholarship. But I have some big surprises for you today. I would like to welcome to the podium Lindsay. I'm going to blow it. Lindsay Mescamer Tavares. Lindsay was our very first scholarship winner. Incredible. And we are also extremely privileged and honored to have as our special guests Lindsay's father and stepmother, Santa Barbara Fire Captain Alan Mescamer and Linda Mescamer. Please join us at the podium. Before you sit down, Captain Mescamer served for 31 years in the Santa Barbara Fire Department. Please thank him for his service. Lindsay is also here with her wonderful husband, Paul Tavares, and their beautiful children, David and Hannah. So we are honored to have them all. And finally, I would like to welcome to the podium our very first scholarship chair. I'm very proud to follow in his footsteps, Mr. Frank Burke.
Yes, ma'am. We're here. I have a handkerchief.
It's so good that he knows who's boss. As if there's any ever doubt, right? Okay. So Lindsay, it takes a village, right? And we were part of that village. We were part of Lindsay's village. Maybe just a little bit, but we were. She went to Claremont McKenna College, and then she served as a teacher in Arizona for 3 years. And then she decided to go to medical school at the University of Arizona, where she studied to become an ophthalmologist, and she is now in private practice in Tucson. That is the difference each one of you make in someone's life. And she's going to speak about that shortly. So with that, I will turn the podium over to Lindsay.
Thank you so much for having me here today. It's really an honor and a privilege to be here. And as Lillian said, I'm here with my husband Paul and my 2 kids, David and Hannah, and my parents, Al and Linda. Thank you again for having us. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the CAA Scholarship Program for helping me achieve my goal of first graduating from Claremont McKenna College, and that allowed me to go on to medical school and pursue all my medical training, and now I have a job that I love, and I help people see better, and it really makes a difference in their lives, and it's very gratifying for me. And I think it's a very honorable and meaningful cause to help young scholars pursue higher education, and I think it's wonderful that you all have continued to do that for all these years. And again, I'm very thankful to the scholarship program for supporting me, and to my family who's with me here today for supporting me throughout this time. Thank you again.
Captain Meskimer has a few words for you.
Well, I want to thank the association for the scholarship again. A couple of months ago, we got a call from our daughter, and she said, "I have some exciting news to tell you." And both my wife and I go, "Oh, you're expecting." And, no, it was that she was excited about being recognized as the first recipient in the scholarship. From a parent standpoint, the scholarship was important. For one, we had our son in college, and this helped. Both of them were in college at the same time, so this helped financially. But more important was that the confidence built up in our daughter. We could see that. And the recognition that she got was worth more, I think, than the scholarship monetarily, because we could see a personal growth in her, and that was very gratifying, and we thank the association for that.
Okay, now I'm really going to cry. What a beautiful thing to say. And finally, I'd like to welcome your first scholarship chair, Frank Burke, to the podium for a few words.
We never pass up a microphone. So what I want to say is what I've said from the beginning, is that the scholarship program is probably the most important public relations program we have to offer to law enforcement and the fire service. And it was just demonstrated by the captain here that says, you know, how appreciative he is. And when we can reach the children of these entities, these departments, it gives you an opportunity to go out and introduce yourself to these different departments, the police department, the fire departments, the fire services that can handle your area, no matter how remote it is. It's important for you to remember that program is there for you to use as part of your meeting with those law enforcement and fire service people. I encourage you to continue it. I have one more thing. Is it possible to get that picture back up there with giving the check out to Lindsay? Can we put that out there? No, but I wanted to point out to you two people there. One was my partner, George Gunning. He hasn't aged one bit since that time. Hi, partner. And Frank Miner. I tried to get Frank up here. He just is resistant to showing up to these meetings. But if somebody from Santa Barbara can kick him in the butt a little bit, he's a friend of our industry, friend of our association, and He's been a great contributor to it. Also, I got one more person here. Bob Jennison, where are you here? God, I hope you weren't. Bob Jennison. Bob Jennison was on the committee when we started reading letters. Each one of these young students that go through the program are evaluated on quite a few merits, and one of them is a letter writing program. And I know Lindsay doesn't have the letter here with her, but I can tell you right now, some of these letters we receive are tear-jerkers, aren't they, Bob? And it's amazing to me, some of these students that can come up with a 4.4 and 4.5 and 4.6 grade point averages. 2.3 I thought was great when I went to school, so. So thank you very much. Just remember to keep that program going, please.
So to wrap up, I really, really, really hope to see all of you in Palm Springs when we make our 20th scholarship presentation. And it is, again, a privilege and honor to continue to head up this incredible legacy program. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great job. If that's not validation of a great program, I don't know what is. Thank you very much, Lillian, for that great report. And thank you to all that made the trip up to join us here in San Francisco. One bit of business that I need to go back to that I skipped over. Thank you very much, Les. When we nominated and voted at the board level for John Sargent's lifetime membership, it does take a vote from the membership at large. So, Les, can I just ask for the vote?
Well, we have to entertain a motion to ratify the action of the board of directors so that legitimately John Sargent can become a lifetime member.
Thank you. So we have a motion by Ron Lander to make, and a second by Sharon. All in favor, signify by saying aye. And opposed? Thank you. It's that point in the program where I'm asking for old business. Any new business? Anything for the good of the order? George Gunning, could I please get a motion to adjourn, please? Thank you very much. Adjourned. We're going to have our 10:45. We almost did it, Jerry. We almost did it. So we have our keynote speaker at 10:45, so we'll have about a 20-minute turnaround. So if you could be back in your seat and ready to welcome Denise at 10:45, that'd be great. Thanks for your attendance and your being here.